Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Paddock here in Austria for round 11 of the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. And we've got an extra special Inside the Paddock for you today because if you haven't quite seen on social media just yet, there has been some breaking news in the last couple of moments, and it's why we are stood outside the Pertamina Enduro VR46 racing team. So we'll wander down here as my cameraman expertly walks backwards and guides us through the space between the two trucks here in the VR46 camp, and we've got Pablo Nieto waiting for us, I do believe. I can just see him down there. And we're going to have a quick chat to him because, well, they've announced their second rider for the 2025 season, and if you've been keeping up with the silly season market for 2025 next year, it probably won't be much surprise as to who it is, but we'll let Pablo himself break the news to you. Pablo, thank you very much for taking your time to join us. I believe you have some exciting news to tell the world. Just want to say who it is?
Yeah, we confirmed for 2025 that we have our second rider, that is going to be Franco Morbidelli. So we are very happy to arrive to this moment, no? In the end, we have a lot of work we make a lot of work, so finally we finish the team.
Obviously, you know, he has close ties to the VR46 Riders Academy for a long, long time, trained with Valentino all the way through his career. It must, for him, feel like quite an easy change to make, obviously going from the Pramac team then to your team next year. There mustn't be anything really that he feels daunted about stepping away from one team and going to another.
I hope so. In the end, it's going to be very important for him, also because he will have the same bike that he is driving now. So that can be an advantage for us, for him, because he knows very good the bike. Then he jumped to our team. He knows very good our team. It's true that it's the first time that he will work with us, but with the academy and everything, in the end, it's like a family, no? So it's going to be very hard, but I'm very excited.
It also means as well that, you know, the team has been a force in recent seasons in MotoGP, and once again for 2025 you'll have two top-line riders, with obviously Fabio doing fantastic things this year and will continue doing fantastic things next year, and Franco, who after a few tough seasons this year is showing that he's still got that top-line ability in him. How positive are you for next year with this rider lineup?
Yeah, also we make a very big step for like the team, no? Because we will be factory support team from Ducati, so that's very, very important for us. Then we continue with the same rider with Fabio, that I think he's making a very good job, and he will have the factory bike, so I think for him it's going to be a very important year. And then Franky, like you say, no, it was very hard years in the past. Now is the first time that he have a very competitive bike. Also, we know that he in this winter time he didn't make a very good winter time because he have a very big insurance in Portimao, and he lost the winter time. So I think we can make a very good job. It's important, and also that Fabio and Franco have a very good relationship, so we can work together. And then let's see. But at the moment, we are happy that we close the team. We are everything done, so we are very, very happy.
Obviously, as you say, Franky will stay on the GP24 for next season. We've seen him do fantastic things in the past on a year-old bike, famously going to second in the World Championship in 2020 on a year-old machine. Is there any concern at all with him being on that year-old bike? We've seen this year how the GP24 has seemed to take strides from nowhere, and there's kind of a gap now between the 23 and the 24. Any concern for Franky being on last year's?
Yeah, we know that this sometimes, like this year, the difference between one bike and from the other one is quite big, no? I hope and I thought that next year the gap that from the bike 24 to 25 is not going to be like this bigger, no? So that's going to be very important for him, because in the end the gap is going to be smaller, we think. But anyway, you never know, no? So the most important thing is that he will continue with the same bike, with the same material. So that's mean in the first part of the championship, maybe we can have that advance that we was talking before. So it's going to be very, very important to us to try to work very, very good in the winter test, to try to arrive to the best level as soon as possible.
And finally, just about this morning, we obviously saw Marco have a small crash, but he seemed okay. But how was the morning in general for Fabio and Marco?
Yeah, small crash, but here it's easy to lose the front because braking points is very, very hard. Here is also very, very important to try to don't go to the green zone, so because like this they take out the lap. But anyway, I think we are very confident to make a very good weekend.
Pablo, thank you for joining us, and good luck next year. Very exciting times.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Pablo Nieto there, obviously just off the fresh news that Franco Morbidelli will be their second rider in the VR46 squad for next season, and for Franky, sort of a coming home of sense where, you know, he's been a VR46 rider for his whole life with the academy and now actually stepping into the official team for the first time. So let's take a wander down, because I believe that we have Pecco Bagnaia floating around, as he always is, in these Inside the Paddocks. Who Pecco had a strong morning this morning. Of course, the world champion who famously last year here won the Grand Prix and the sprint, pole position, fastest lap. He did the full-on Grand Slam, the first rider to ever do it. So Pecco certainly not bad around these parts. And actually, there's just Jack Miller who's just gone flying past us there. Jack's a very interesting topic here in Austria, because if you didn't see this morning during the Moto2 session, it was confirmed, as we're actually just passing the MT Helmets MSI trucks now, that their Moto2 rider lineup for next year will be Sergio Garcia, important on that, and also Ivan Ortolo graduating from Moto3 to Moto2. But it's important that Sergio Garcia is reconfirmed in Moto2, because that essentially means that Pramac Yamaha slot is all but confirmed as Jack Miller's, and particularly if you sense his mood and attitude and how, let's say, positive he is here compared to how he was in Silverstone, definitely it looks like good news for Jack Miller. Here we go, here's Pecco then, just wandering up. On cue as always, we'll let him sign a few autographs first and then we'll dive in with him. We'll just see if we can grab Pecco. So let's just grab Pecco for a little quick word, because it is a bit of a tradition here on Inside the Paddock. If I just squeeze my way through and not get in the background of any photographs. Pecco, a quick word, because it's tradition on Inside the Paddock, as you know. Bit of good luck. Good weekend this morning. A good morning this morning.
It started well. For obviously we didn't have the chance to ride with the tire for the race, for the about the front, but the condition is quite good. Seems that the weather today continue like this. It's very hot, but I love it.
Well, Pecco, we've got a little present for you actually, because you're always good to the fans here. You're always out signing photographs for them.
Yeah,
so we
this
thought
is for me.
It is for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
of
like
course.
it.
It's
I
certainly
love
not for me. I'm not
Thank
important
you.
enough to get a jacket, but because you're always a good sport signing photographs for the rider, for the fans out here, we
Thank you
thought
very
we'd
much. Thank
treat
you,
you
thank
for one anyway. But good luck this weekend, Pecco.
Thank you very
Obviously,
much.
we know you go well here, so
Finger crossed always.
let's see how it is. But
Ciao.
enjoy this afternoon. So Pecco off to probably go and stuff his face at some lunch quickly after he's got out of his levers, because we know that he'll be a busy boy this afternoon preparing for the second MotoGP session, MotoGP practice, the hour-long session later this afternoon. Let's also talk about the other side of the Factory Ducati box, because Enea Bastianini, as kind of predicted, a quieter morning, quieter start to the weekend for him here. We know that he was dynamite in Silverstone, but we don't quite expect Enea to be that level of world conquering here. We think it might be a bit of a toss-up between Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia this weekend for who really is the dominant force here in Austria. Just Enea, this place isn't one of his favoured tracks, not quite suited to his riding style just as well as his teammate and also his fellow Ducati competition, Jorge Martin. Now let's wander down, because Honda here, interesting prospect for this weekend. Obviously we know that Honda, they've been suffering. No easy way to say it. It's been a real torrid season for HRC and the LCR squad under that HRC umbrella. But here, definitely more positive. They said coming into the weekend, they think that this circuit shouldn't be so bad for them. They're not too bad in hard braking, and as long as they can limit the spin coming out of the corners, they should be okay. And definitely evidence of that this morning. Joao Mir up in 9th at the end of practice 1 this morning, so really strong job from Joan, and also his Honda stablemates weren't too far behind him either. So yeah, really good stuff from there. Dani, you for a quick chat, you ready? How are you, Dani? You okay?
Yes, all okay.
How was this morning out there?
This morning was very good. I did good free practice. I did the P2. Yeah, very happy.
Obviously, Dani, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen next year. You are not yet confirmed on what you're doing next year, but there's a lot of rumours that you're maybe going to step up to Moto2. Any insight into what you're doing?
Yeah. For the next year, I ride in Moto2. I am very happy. But now I need to stay focused in Moto3 because it's very important this year for me and for the team. But yes, I am very happy with the for the next year.
Well, that'd be exciting to see you up there. I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job, but good luck this weekend because it's going to be a tough race, as always in Moto3.
Enjoy the weekend.
Will do. Thank you, Dani. So there you go, a little bit of an Inside the Paddock exclusive for you. Dani Holgado confirming he will be stepping up to Moto2. Hasn't said which team that will be, but if you keep your ear to the rumour mill, it sounds like it will be the Aspar squad joining in CF Moto. We'll have to wait until we see that one officially confirmed by the team themselves, but yeah, certainly looks as though Dani Holgado will be stepping up there and certainly deserving of it. Done a fine job in the last couple of seasons in Moto3 since he entered the class. So let's wander down because obviously we're here in Austria, home of KTM. They're based in Mattighofen, just a few hours away from here. And they've done a lot of testing here recently. There's been a lot of talk about KTM, their struggles, how they're trying to get themselves out of their struggles. So definitely tricky that KTM this morning had a real up and down session, let's say. They had Brad and Pedro up there in 5th and 6th on the times, good lap times. And also, let's not forget Pablo Nieto, their test ride up in P3, supposedly broke the lap record here in a private test that they had a couple of weeks ago. So fast, but Brad had a tip off at the chicane fairly early in the session, and then Pedro Acosta had 2 crashes late on. Also had a crash at the chicane, but then also had a monster crash at the end, which saw the red flag come out. He carried on after the first crash, went back around on his next flying lap, went on the brakes at turn 4, and he just clicked into top gear, to 6th gear, and the front just folded underneath him. Bike slammed into the barrier, spun around, Pedro went sliding down the road. Thankfully, Pedro's all okay. You saw him straight away mouthing to the marshals like, "I'm fine, don't worry." So really positive there to see that Pedro is fine. But yeah, a concerning session for KTM, let's say. We're outside Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez's team, the Gresini Racing team. A strange session, has to be said, for, well, let's say both Marquez bros this morning. Alex didn't look too bad. Nothing exactly amazing, but certainly not a bad session either. Just a solid first morning session for him. But Mark had a bit of a weird one. Didn't look too bad in terms of the lap times he was able to do, but a lot of cancelled laps for Marc Marquez this morning. And I believe ended the session down in 18th, but his last lap he did do would have put him up in about 7th or 8th, I think it was. So, bit of a weird one with Marc Marquez here this weekend, and lots of talk that perhaps he's going to struggle a little bit compared to those GP24s. So we'll see what happens. We also passed the Yamaha garage down there. A quiet morning for the Yamaha duo, let's say. Nothing too much, and we'll also chat about Pramac Yamaha for next season, of course, where, as we said earlier, it looks like Jack Miller is a shoe-in for one of those rides, and the other one looks like indeed it's going to be Miguel Oliveira, confirming to our colleagues Jack Appleyard and Lewis Sotheby yesterday that he is in deep negotiations with Yamaha and Pramac. So yeah, looking like very much might be Miguel Oliveira and Jack Miller in those factory, satellite, but factory bikes in the Pramac Yamaha squad next season. Lastly, let's talk about Aprilia. A real strange session this morning for Aprilia, because quite frankly, it wasn't a good one. Maverick not doing anything particularly brilliant, wasn't right up there in the times, but certainly wasn't doing bad either, up there in the top 10. But Aleix Espargaro had 2 crashes at the chicane in very similar fashion. One he actually lost on the right on the way in, and then the other one he lost on the left. We're actually just down the bottom end of pit lane here, so we'll wander back up Parc Ferme and maybe see if we can find some riders, because there's not too much going on down here. But yeah, Aleix, a bit of a tricky session, a real strange one to be honest, and Well, interestingly enough, we've actually got our MotoGP colleague Jack Appleyard in the Aprilia box all day today. He's part of a thing that Aprilia are doing this season with members of the media. They take a presenter, a member of the media, put them in Aprilia team gear for the day and then say, right, we're going to get you to do some small mechanical jobs, helping out with the team and all this sort of stuff. Today is the day that our friend Jack Appleyard does it, and well, Aleix hasn't had the best of starts to the Austrian Grand Prix, so perhaps there's some blame that can be placed on Jack Appleyard. Joking, of course, but I know what Jack's like as a mechanic. He's not particularly good. Fantastic presenter, terrible mechanic. Anyway, so we'll see this afternoon if Aleix can go a little bit better, and then maybe we'll be slightly more forgiving on Jack Appleyard's presence in the Aprilia box. But as we say, Aleix, tricky session this morning, so not exactly what they would have wanted. Other things this morning, obviously there's lots of wildcards here this weekend. Stefan Bradl's here this weekend, so too is Lorenzo Savadori, and as we said earlier, Pol Espargaro. Pol's bike, by the way, bat bike, looks crazy, looks mental. It looks like they've cooked something up in Red Bull Advanced Technologies and just gone, right, lob that on and see how you go. New aero, these big things coming off the rear wheel with kind of serrated fins on the side. We're just looking down to see if there's any riders around that we can talk to. But yeah, new aero and also new exhaust, and definitely looks like a little bit of a strange machine, it has to be said. Also, Lorenzo Savadori here on supposedly a laboratory bike, as always with Aprilia, but as always with Aprilia, what you can't see is the detail. So we'll have to be asking Lorenzo at the end of the weekend exactly what was on that Aprilia RSGP, the development one for 2025. Stefan Bradl, incidentally, the Honda boys, the actual factory Honda boys, Mir, Marini, Zarco and Nakagami, they have an updated engine here this weekend, but Bradl, the test rider, supposedly has an even further updated one that those guys haven't tried yet. So lots and lots of work going in at Honda. Let's just see if we can poke our nose down in, because there's not really a lot. Taka Nakagami has just gone flying past, so we've missed Taka. That's a shame, because Taka's always a good chat. But let's see if there's anyone floating around here, because Marco Bezzecchi. No, Marco's going the wrong way. We've missed out on Marco Bezzecchi, unfortunately, but well, I'm not going to chase him. Anyway, anyone diving around here? Don't see anyone in particular. See if Luca Marini's just wandered out the back of the garage. Let's see if we can get Luca before he goes in. Let's see if Luca's okay for a quick word. We'll just let him sign some t-shirts. That's a very cool t-shirt, nice little Marini merch there. But yeah, let's see if Luca's okay for a quick chat. Very nice. Luca, okay for just a quick word? We know that you guys have an updated engine here this weekend. How was the first sensations out there on track?
Well, not a huge step, but a little step forward, yes. So, positive.
Do you think could be a better weekend? We know you've been struggling at other tracks, but here is perhaps more suited to the strengths?
Well, I don't know. For sure the gap will be lower, because the track is very tiny, very short, so we can be closer to the top, but maybe the position doesn't change so much. We will see. Now it's just first practice.
Good luck. Thank you, Luca. Good luck this weekend. So, Luca there, understated about the chances this weekend. He's certainly not one to oversell and get carried away with optimism. Definitely a realist is Luca Marini, and that is, well, it's what Honda certainly need at the moment. So, Luca there, we'll keep an eye on him, how he goes this weekend. Certainly, as he didn't seem too pleased with how it went this morning, but it definitely looked like it was a little better in terms of just their consistency and how far off the top they were. So hopefully things sound a little more positive than what Luca does. We've missed Marco again. I can't believe it. Well, to be honest then, I think most of the riders here, they've already gone for lunch or already in the back of their garages getting changed. So I think we'll wrap this one up. We'll walk over to the MotoGP 75 logo, why not, and wrap this one up here in Austria. Of course, a massive weekend. We've already seen confirmations. Ayagura coming up to MotoGP. You know, Franco Morbidelli moving into the VR46 racing squad for next season as well, stepping away from Pramac, and obviously with Pramac still not with either of their riders signed up, it does indeed look like, though, it will be Miller and Oliveira. So definitely a big weekend here in Austria, not just for the championship this season, but also looking forward to 2025. Make sure you tune in this afternoon to MotoGP practice, the hour-long session this afternoon. Going to be a scorcher here because the sun is beating down on us here in Austria. It's going to be a good one. Make sure you tune into that. We'll see you later.